Now, let's get behind the headlines, because my guest was a former bar owner when he started his own company back in 2011. His aim to produce a better cloud-based point-of-sale system for the hospitality sector than that which was already available. Well, computer systems then followed in the hospitality sector. Today, EPOS now boasts a 40-strong programming team, sells to around 20,000 customers, ranging from small shops and restaurants to Best Western hotels and Disney stores. It plans to open a US base this year, having entered the market in January. Well, joining me here in the studio is Jacyn, founder and CEO of EPOS now. Jacyn, really good to talk to you. So talk me through the idea for starting up this company. Did you spy a gap in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. As a bar owner, when we started, the interesting thing about this industry, it was similar to how mobile phones and photocopies are sold before. We took the approach that we wanted to use the internet to sell it, and we wanted to be really transparent and clear with our pricing to customers. And that approach enabled us to scale rapidly, because previously it was done on the approach where people were you'd phone up basically, and then there wasn't transparent pricing. So I think being honest and transparent and using the internet really helped us scale.
Yeah, and in talking about the sort of pace of scale, how quickly you've managed to grow in just 5 years.
Absolutely.
How do you feel that you've managed to do that? Have you found that there's been the necessary support here in the UK for that? Well,
it's difficult, because when you start, you never know your vision, because your vision is always going to be so grand. But you never really, taking people on that journey is difficult. Getting the right people, getting the right leadership and getting the right guys on board is difficult. And a lot of doors are closed off for you. I'm very proud to sit here today and tell you, like, we're the UK's 13th fastest growing company, and we've had no outside investment as yet and no VCs. To achieve that has been fantastic, and that's been recruiting the right people and coming out with the right model and being innovative with your product as well. But there's been massive challenges over the way.
I'm sure there has, and of course you manufacture in Asia, you
Absolutely.
buy a lot of your stock in dollars, you've got customers in Europe and the US. How concerned are you about the result of that referendum on June 23rd?
Well, to be honest with you and your viewers, to put it in perspective, the moment the referendum came in, I didn't expect it. I've got a business in America, as you mentioned before. Now, it's a substantial business already, and there's probably about 300 or 400 American customers at least. And at that point, I flew over to America on that day to try and generate more in dollars, because the difficult factor is, when you're an international business, if you're buying your stock in dollars, that instantly makes your stock 12% more expensive. And then as you're selling in markets that dollars are the currency there, you're generating more money in those markets. So you're automatically going to invest in those other markets.
So how are you feeling looking forward? Do you see possibilities? Do you see potential positives coming out of the Brexit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the government's doing the right thing, which is helpful. They're reducing the interest rates now. By 2020, they say they're going to reduce them down to 17%, and they're even looking at competing with Germany at 15%. That's exactly the right thing they need to be doing, and that means as a company you want to realise your profits. So that's smart. And they've reduced the interest rates to 0.25%. That shows that they're stimulating the economy. So it shows that businesses can leverage cheap finance as well, and they're enticing the banks to lend. I think you look at that opportunity, and I'd say I was kind of like dismayed at the decision. But when I saw what the government were doing, that made me feel like much more relieved. My biggest worry, though, is at the moment I've got a lot of staff from the European Union. So we've got some really talented programmers and some really talented tech guys that have joined our business. And some of them, and the general consensus now, they don't know whether they'll have to go home. And that's hard when you're motivating, you've got development plans for these guys. You really want them on point. And I think there's roughly about 1 million people from the European Union working in this country. And I think in order to get them on point and get them to push in the right way, I think we need some sort of stability. And I think the biggest thing is that, like, uncertainty for those guys.
Yeah, really interesting to get that perspective, particularly from yourself, being a sort of young tech startup in touch with others from the community. Jacyn, really good to talk to you. Jacyn there, founder and CEO of EPOS now. Thanks.
Thank you.